Ba-dum bum 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 bum. Ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-bum-dum. Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 bum. Ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-bum-dum. Hello, my friends. Hi. Yeah, I was going to be late tonight, I thought, because I just got in on a flight. Boy, did we zoom here quickly. I'm up north now, left Florida. Left rainy Florida, and I'm coming to snowy Buffalo area. So it's a nice change for us. We don't mind in the least. So hi, friends. My name is Joette Calabrese. For those of you who don't know me, we do one thing and one thing only every single Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And we do only homeopathy. I teach you what I know. I share with you. I hope that you join in the community and that you communicate amongst yourselves. I think that is what really keeps this afloat. This movement afloat has a lot to do with not just being able to do good for yourself and your family and your clients and your patients, depending on what your lot in life is, but also the community. There is, I know it sounds trite, doesn't it? Community, community, community. But I have to tell you, friends, it is very, very foundational, particularly when you are studying or using something such as homeopathy, because only a small percentage of people use homeopathy in North America. Well, the rest of the world, it's very big. In North America, it is rather uncommon. So you need community. You need to be able to speak to someone who speaks your language, maybe knows a little bit more than you do about one aspect of using homeopathy, and you know a little bit more of another. So for those of you who do know me, welcome, friends. It's great to see you. Love it. Hi, Alice from Toronto, and I'm going to say hello to a few people. I see my team is here. Thank you for joining in and being with me tonight, as always. My wonderful team. I've got a team that kicks keister, shall I say. I mean, the team that I have working with me by my side at all times is an amazing group of people. And so for those of you who don't know them, just know they are great, and maybe you just say hi to them and thank them for their tireless work, what they do for me, for us, for the community, for homeopathy, and practical homeopathy especially, is pretty darned remarkable. So I'm going to say hi to a few people. Hi, Paula in snowy Wisconsin. I'm sure it's pretty snowy. Hi, Grazia from Maryland, and Robin from Missouri, and Diane from Wisconsin. Yes, we love Lori. Yes, Robin, you're right. I love Lori too. Yes. Hi, Phoenicia. And Sue from San Diego, and Celeste Santiago gave me a lovely little gift. Thank you for that little book. And I think you gave me something else, but I remembered the book now because I was looking through it. Best team ever. You're right, Celeste. Absolutely. Hi, Lori. Hi, Jennifer in New York. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you're there. No matter what I do, there you are. It's so wonderful to see you. You are so enthusiastic. It's a wonderful thing to see. And Vernice from Ohio, and Phoenicia. Aw. Yeah, because Phoenicia is part of our team. Thank you to whoever responded to my email and helped me find the live here on the website. Sure, Christine. Yeah, we've got some great people. Diane in New Jersey, and Sue, Leslie B., Lynn from Los Angeles, Mia, Pat from Kansas. It is wonderful to see you. Just left the Buffalo area and headed back too soon. Soon to be snowy Kentucky, says Danny. Yeah. It was much snowier here in Buffalo, we understand, but it's just a dusting right now. Good evening from Connecticut, and says Iris, and Lori says hi from Pittsburgh. Hello from a wet, soggy Bullard, Texas. Thank you for all you do, says Joanne. Alice, yes, I already said hi to Alice in Toronto. Kristen in Japan. Wonderful to recognize your team, says Lori. Yes, Robin Howard. Hi, Joette. Excuse me. Lots of British people using homeopathy, yet you never see any evidence of it in any of their TV shows or movies. No. You don't see that evidence. You're absolutely right, because the powers that be buy that time away. I used to sell airtime for NBC, and I know how powerful big industry can be. They just dictate, and we just do what they want us to do. When I worked at NBC, was an NBC affiliate in Buffalo, New York. We just did as we were told to do by them, because if we didn't, we just didn't get their dollars, and the station would go down the tank. So we just did it. And at that time, back in the early 80s when I was working there, and before that I worked at an independent television station, it was a little less acquiescing, shall I say. But boy, NBC affiliate just did as they were told. And one of my biggest accounts one was Pepsi-Cola and the other one was McDonald's. And boy, whatever they said, we did. And it was long before I had ever had any understanding of any of this. Long before I had a family and thought about any of these. Nadine from Ohio. Hi. Everyone says Natalie. Cherry says, or maybe it's Sherry from Utah. And Ruthie from Texas. And Lori Hamilton and Nadine from Ohio and Angela from Oklahoma. Yeah, Florida's been chilly, but it won't last, says Donna. Hi, Donna. Phyllis in Oklahoma. Leslie. Wonderful. Great to see you all. Okay, so tonight you see all of these cell salts here. This is the way cell salts often come, because these are manufactured by Standard and or Highlands. And so it used to be Standard, now it's called Highlands, and there are 12 of them. And so the reason I wanted you to learn about these is because a lot of times we see that there are so many homeopathic medicines. There are, I believe it's give or take a couple thousand, perhaps, about 6,000 homeopathic medicines. Now, when I teach practical homeopathy, I try to concentrate on the top 20. Then as you learn those, maybe the top 50. and if you can have own about 100 of these homeopathic medicines, you're in good stead. You're off to a really good start. Oh, I still got stickers. I was just on the flight with my granddaughter, and she stuck me with little star stickers, and I'll take these off now because they're folding off. At any rate, but there are 12 that Dr. Schussler recognized, and his name was Wilhelm Schussler, and they were he was in the late 1800s, 1890s, around that time, 1880s, 1870s, and he determined that there are 12 basic cell salts, meaning salts or constituents of sorts of the human body, the blood and the bones and the skin, etc. I'm going to read them off to you. If you can certainly look them up easily, and there's another way of looking at this. Many say that there are more than those cell salts, those 12, which makes perfect sense because remember, this is in the 1800s that he came across this information. And I'm just going to read them to you, and then I'm going to go through some ideas on how you can use these. There's calc fluor, calc phos. Now, these Highlands often have them numbered. As you can see, this is number 2, and a lot of people know them by the numbers. I don't know the numbers, to be honest, because I know them by the remedies. That's number 2 is calc phos. Calc fluor is number 1. So calc fluor is 1, calc phos is number 2, calcarea sulfurica or calc sulf is number 3. The next one is ferrum phos. The next one is kali-mur. Now, I'm shortening the words because it's kalium muriaticum, ferrum phosphoricum, but I'm just going to give you the shortened version because that's how often we see them on the label of the bottles. Kali-phos, kali-sulf, mag-phos or magnesium phosphoricum, nat-mur, nat-phosphoricum, nat-sulf, and silica. So those are the 12. But I also have to tell you, friends, that there is also bioplasma, which is all 12 mixed together. Now, let me start by telling you that if you're not a member of Gateway to Homeopathy, that's where I teach this. I believe it's Gateway to Homeopathy 2. Gateway 2. Gateway 1, you have to go through Gateway 1 to get to Gateway 2, but I do discuss Gateway. In Gateway 2, I do cover a lot about cell salts. But I want to cover it here for you, too, because I feel very strongly that we need to get this information out. And so that means to me that I want to give you information that you don't have to buy. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't want you to further your education and go into Gateway 1, Gateway 2, join in one of the protocol courses, or even better yet, to join the academy and commit to a full year of rigorous study. But I want you to know that this is important for humanity. And I know I don't mean to make myself sound too altruistic, because I certainly do make a living from doing this as well. But I want you to be able to make a living from doing this as well. I want you to know enough about homeopathy so that if you graduate from the academy and mastery, that you too will be able to become a homeopath and make a living. Because I do believe that individual entrepreneurship and homeopathy go hand in hand. It's a beautiful melding of two great methods. One is for income, and the other one is for is to learn, of course, the medicine that we're using. So I also believe, and I'm going to go one step further with my philosophy, I believe that the family has been eroded, in case you haven't noticed. That it's not being encouraged, that the family stay intact, and it irks me. Maybe that's not the word. I'm not so sure that's exactly the word. It disappoints me greatly, because without the family unit intact, society will, in my estimation, just fall apart. It's already, the degeneracy in our world is really noteworthy. And so I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we don't have intact families as we should, as we used to. So knowing homeopathy, you as a woman or man, but mostly women, mothers and grandmothers learn this. Knowing this puts you in a role of holding the family, taking your duty seriously, knowing how important it is to not let extrinsic factors come into your family and influence, and keeping it at the kitchen table, my friends. And so that's why I love these remedies, these protocols, these methods. And before I expire from this earth, I want to know that I've done something to help protect La Familia. I feel very strongly about the family. And maybe it's my age, maybe it's because I'm Sicilian American, maybe, I don't know what, but maybe it's because I've seen the degeneration of the family and I don't want to see that any longer. And I believe that this is an intricate part of keeping the family intact. Okay, enough with my philosophy. Let's, Roman Empire fell mostly due to family breakdown. Interesting. As someone said, if you help people have what they want, you can have everything you want. Yeah, amen, Joe, it says Beverly. The loss of the family is the beginning of the fall of any nation. Look at history. Absolutely. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes. All righty. So these 12 little cell salts are easier to understand in many ways. Now, there's been a debate for a long time. Are these cell salts typical homeopathic medicines, or are they nutrients? Now, they are made homeopathically because, as you can see, it's ferrum phos 6x, which means it's diluted 6 times to the 10th power. They're all 6x. Now, my little set of remedies here of cell salts are all in the 6x, but you can buy them in 3x's. You can buy them in 3C. You can buy them in 12X, 12C. And you can even buy cell salts in a higher potency, my friends, all the way up to 30s, 200s, 1Ms, 10Ms. But most people don't think of cell salts that way. They think of them generally in the lower potencies, the 3s and the 6s, sometimes in the 12s. So what I love about these is that everyone, if you start studying them, yes, you're right. Poweran is a good company and very supportive of our practical homeopathy community. And now we certainly know that that Standard or Highlands carries these, but so does Boron carries them. And so does OHM Pharma. And so all of the pharmacies, all of the pharmacies that I hold in high regard carry these cell salts. So what I like about them, let's get back to that again, is that they are easy to comprehend. They're easy to understand how to use. They're low potency. You can use them 2-3 times a day. They can be used for long periods of time. But one of the confusions that most people have is that they say, so can a cell salt cause approving? In other words, can you use it incorrectly and then get uncomfortable, be made uncomfortable by its overuse? And yes, indeed, it can. Absolutely. But generally, we see that when that happens, and that's true of whether or not it's a cell salt or it's a no-sode or whatever category we might find we're using, it still is something we're always going to be watching for. If someone gets worse after taking a homeopathic medicine, what do? We stop. Now, let me say parenthetically, that flies in the face of classical homeopathy, because in classical homeopathy, there is an expectation that you will get worse before you get better. And unfortunately, that confuses people a great deal. And I'm here to tell you that when we repeat a medicine, it brings down the potential of an aggravation, of things getting a little worse before they get better. And I know that sounds strange, but the more you learn, you will realize that is the way it generally works. So, if you look at each one of these 12 cell salts, calc fluor, calc phos, calc sulf, ferrum phos, etc., 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 and if you read up on each one of them, you're going to say, wait a minute, that's perfect for me. Oh, wait a minute, I need this one. I need this one too, and I need that one. And the reason for that, my friends, is because we need all of them. Now, that does not mean that we take all of them. It just means that there will be aspects of your health or your family's, your child or your grandchild or your dog or your goat, whoever it is that you're treating, you will find that everyone needs these cell salts. But some of them will be needed more than others. So in other words, let's say it's a child who has dental problems. And their teeth are coming in very slowly, and the teeth that are coming in with issues such as a cavity or two, and they're too young to have that. Or the teeth are not strong, they're chipping, or they're degrading. Now, there are many remedies that we can use for this. We can consider something like basilinum, tuberculinum. We can consider metarin. There are other medicines that we can consider, but if we're talking about just the cell salts, the first medicines we think of are calc phos, calc fluor, and silica. Those are the top 3 medicines. Now, if you look at that and you say, that's what's happening to this child. But they also have cramps in their legs at night. That's mag phos. So what's the most important concern here? Are the cramps in the legs at night really awful for this child? Then by all means, you're going to use mag phos. No doubt about it. And you're going to use it until the cramps no longer occur. So you're going to use it, say, twice a day. And maybe a third time in the middle of the night if the child's crying out. So you're going to use that while you have an acute here. But meanwhile, that's kind of an acute situation. Meanwhile, though, you've got a condition with the teeth. Now we're going to add, as I said, calc phos, calc fluor, and silica to the child's regular taking of the homeopathic medicines. And those are going to be the mainstay for months. Many months, weeks, months, maybe 6, 8, 10 months, until you see that the teeth are starting to, substantiate themselves. Okay, so that's the way I want you to look at this. Now, you may also find that the person is, let's say it's a teenager, and they have leg cramps. Okay, let's use that. And they also are studying for exams, and their brain is practically hurting. They are so overwhelmed by study that they can't study any longer, and they're just browned off with all of the amount of studying that they have to do. But they also have leg cramps. What's most important? Always look, and this is not just with cell salts, my friends. This is with all of the homeopathic medicines, trying to determine the homeopathic medicines. This is always what we're doing when we're trying to assess what we should be doing, which conditions should we be treating, because we can't treat them all. And that's because if you go after all of them, you're going to be using all 12 cell salts, and you're going to be throwing in a few more of the other medicines. And that is overload. It's overkill, and it's not the tidy way to do this, and I do believe tidy certainly matters. Let's get back to that teenage boy who has leg cramps at night, and his mom decides to use mag phos, or magnesium phosphoricum. And he also is overstudied. Oh my gosh, he's got so many exams, and he just can barely think through, and he's forgetting things, and he's really suffering because he's not making heads nor tail of his work. Then we would add, let's see if anybody knows. I know many of you are going to know this. Let's see what you come up with here. What do we know is the medicine that we would use for overstudy? So then whatever that medicine is, and I know some of you are going to come in and tell me, would we use the overstudy cell salt, or would we use the leg cramp cell salt? Califas, says Phoenicia. Yes. Irene from Montreal says Califas. Yes. Shanna says Califas. Yes. Heather Martin Cooper says Califas. Yes, thank you. Very good. Nice job. Lila, Mary Lou, Shelley. Yes, Tracy. Beautiful. You've got it. You got it. So if the leg cramps have been going on for months, it's kind of becoming sort of a little bit of a chronic condition because it's been going on for some time. Definitely you would use that Magfos so that teenage boy can get back to sleep at night. But now he's studying for exams. Can you use the Califos to help him with his brain fog and his overuse of the brain and feeling stressed by so much studying? Yes, you can. You can use Califos and Magfos. Now you've got 2 cell salts. Nothing wrong with that. You could even use perhaps a third one. Let's say he also has very, very thin hair and his skin is kind of dry and his nails delaminate or they break off easily. Now we're talking about another homeopathic cell salt. Let's see what you come up with. Yes, you may use both, says Barbara. You're right. You can use both. Can we use that third one for this young man who has hair that's too thin or the hair breaks off, the nails delaminate, they crack easily, his skin is dry. Maybe he's also very shy. Yes. Coralie, silica. Yes, Robin, silica. Yes, you're absolutely right, silica. Yes, thank you. Nice job, everyone. Amy, Phoenicia, yes, Pamela, yes, silica. Now, I would be comfortable using all 3 of those cell salts. I would be comfortable using Magfos for the leg cramps until they resolve. Once they're resolved, then we stop using it. Right? We don't use these medicines forever, right? We only use them until they're no longer needed. So then use that for the leg cramps, and then you can also use Califos especially while he's in exams. When the exams are over and his brain is calmed down and he's successfully completed his exams, then by all means we stop the Califos. But we can stay with that silica perhaps for an elongated period of time. Why silica for a long period of time? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if we're talking about a shy, retiring young man, and his hair is thin and breaking, and his nails are cracking and delaminating, and his skin is dry, that's more of a chronic setting. So we're going to use that silica for a long period of time. So silica is going to hold this young man along in his journey into adulthood. Could be weeks, months, even a couple of years on and off. It doesn't have to be absolutely every day, but generally speaking, we're going to see him use that for a longer period of time. The Magfos is going to come in every once in a while, only as needed when the leg cramps come in, and then as he takes these exams and he's feeling overwhelmed, in will come the Califos, and you're going to use that in the same fashion. So silica then looks like twice a day, perhaps even 3 times a day. In the beginning, maybe 3 times a day. In a 6X, yes, I would use it in a 6. Could use it in a 30, could use it in a 200, but let's stay with those low potencies because that's what everyone knows. And so, yes, everyone's got silica. Yes. Can you take silica with a knee transplant? You certainly may. I have not seen, and I would love to know if anyone, we've had this conversation before here, silica will push out a splinter or glass shard, or a piece of bark that embedded because someone fell from a tree. It will not push out something like a knee transplant. No, it will not. But let's say, my friends, let's just say this person has a knee transplant and they start feeling something strange happening when they're taking silica. Should they just go by my word and say, no, it's not going to do anything? No. I expect you to pay attention. I expect you to note that if indeed, when you take the silica, after a while, you notice that the knee is feeling strange or something's off, abandon ship, my friends. That's only logical. Of course, we're going to do that. Now, it's not going to do irreparable harm. It's going to stop as soon as you stop the medicine within a day or two. Generally, the anything that may have, which is the way that I see it, is extremely unlikely. I can't say for sure. I don't know absolutely every single situation, but in my experience, I've never seen silica cause problems like that. But anytime, let's say you're using the Califos for this young man's studying, And his inability to be able to concentrate properly because he's overworked. His brain is overworked. And by using the Kelly Foss, now he can't sleep. What do we do? Cut the cord. Stop. I mean, in one night, 2 nights, okay. But if it becomes consistent, you don't stay with a medicine that is not helping you. I mean, that's just common sense. But the reason it gets a little convoluted for a lot of people is because, as I said earlier, classically trained homeopaths, as I was and as I taught, excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize, time and time again, I'm sorry that I was classical and that I taught that. That in classical, if you get worse after using homeopathic medicine, that's supposed to be a good sign. And I'm sorry, that should not be. It should not be. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Bioplasma kept both my sister and a friend of ours out of the hospital during episodes of fluid loss. Now, let me say to you, bioplasma is all 12, and people ask me all the time, why don't we just use all 12 of them? Because I go through each one of these, and I can see I could use every one of them. I'm not telling you never to use bioplasma. I think it's a great stopgap measure. That's what it sounds like was used in this situation. But I think it's always tighter, more edited, if you can figure out which of the cell salts of those 12 in the bioplasma is the one that really needs to be focused upon. Can you use bioplasma for a short period of time when you don't know what else to do? Yes, absolutely. And it will buy you time. Let's say someone's in the hospital, you don't know what to do. And I don't know what homeopathic remedy to use. And I know that the cell salts have got to be useful because it will shore up that person's ability to absorb nutrients properly. But I don't know what to do. Okay, so I get it, then bioplasma. But it's not something that I would urge people to use consistently for long periods of time. Okay, let's see what folks are saying here. And we're going to go to my Mighties tonight. So for those of you who are with Mighties, you can certainly stay on and you can ask more questions. Is silica good for building cartilage? Yes, it's not the only one, but yes, it can be. Will silica help with an ingrown toenail? No, that's an infection. Ingrown toenail is infection. Joette Calabre's ingrown toenail, and you'll find the remedy that I recommend for that. I've had silica in my closet for a few years. Do you think it's still good? Let me tell you how old these are. Holy cow, these have got to be, I don't know, 15 years old. They're still good. I find them still to be good. That's my experience. Homeopathic remedies, as long as they're cared for properly, and they're not nearly as fussy as people think they are. Yeah, these have been in my closet too. Let's see. Would it be problematic if you have molar implant? I've never seen a problem with that. Let's see. What are your thoughts about? All right. Good. Okay, I've answered those questions. Let's get to this section here. I'm glad you're helping each other. Yes, let's see. Gateway 2. Oh, Pat says, I've gone through Gateway 2 3 times, teaching in the last time. Learned something each time. Great recall. Absolutely, Pat, you're absolutely right. For those of you who don't know about Gateway, you really do need to know about it. And I urge you not to take it just once, but twice, or sometimes even 3 times. And then you get better and better, and then you teach it. Why shouldn't you make a living doing this as well? Why not, right? We have a whole system set up for that. Let's see. I was told to give my cats with kidney issues, especially high phosphorus levels, to use any of the phosphorus cell salts on their food twice a day, Monday through Friday. Now I'm afraid to do that. I don't want to make them worse. Why would you? I'm not sure I understand why it would make them worse. I have proved many homeo meds. Not a big deal. No, you're right, Gina. That's not a big deal. Take camphor and give it a day and all will resolve. You're absolutely right, Gina. Proving is not a bad thing. It really isn't. It's how we've learned about how to use these medicines in the first place. Let's see. Christine, I gave my cat remedies dissolved in water. He only drinks them if he needs them. It's something about some animals just really get it. I would love to find out if any of Joett's Academy graduates treat cats. All the ones I find are either dogs or horses. Oh, yeah. No. There are people who treat cats. It's usually dogs and cats. Yeah, find a practical homeopath.com. Find a practical homeopath.com. Kidney issues, okay. Jennifer's giving some interesting stuff. Kidney issues, sarsaparilla, berberis, borax, cell salts, and slow acting, so not best often for kidneys. I'm not sure I understand that, Christine. I put the remedies in separate small bowls. Okay, what else do we have here? Thanks, Linda. You're helping each other. Yes, Elizabeth Jowett always says it's all the same: man, woman, dog, cat, or frog. You're absolutely right, Donna. Thanks. And I see, wow, we got lots of good questions here. Why wouldn't you just throw some bioplasma in his water bottle for a couple of weeks? Well, I mean, you can, but let me urge you, friends, do that as a stopgap measure. That's the way I'd like you to think about it. Now, if you see that by giving a stop using the bioplasma, it's done grand things, then carry on for a while. But then it's also a great idea, in my estimation, to really figure out which of those 12 cell salts are helping. Maybe which 3 of them are acting. Okay. Caliphos, great for when stressed, says Jennifer. Would Caliphos work for sleeplessness? Yes, for some people it does. Let's see. Donna, Caliphos helps me when I am awake thinking about whatever I've most recently been studying. Let's see. Heather says I would use bioplasma at times when others might try Gatorade, or when I'm hit with a cold or flu. Yes, good point, Heather. Very good point. Yes, bioplasma for after you are sick too. Very good. These are great comments. Let's see. We have used it coming down with a cold. Caliphos may help. All right. Let's see if we've got some more questions. I have both books and hope to be teaching classes soon. Good, Robin. Yes. Keep going with this. Entrepreneurship, that is also the mainstay of the middle class. It is. That's what we're trying to protect. The family and the middle class, right? I want you to learn this so well that as you age, you remain relevant. Relevancy is key as we age. And in our society, the aged are cast aside, but not if you are the most knowledgeable member of the family. If you know this stuff, everyone needs you. Everyone wants you. Think about it, friends. What a great way to secure your future. I gave my son bioplasma after 6 hockey games. He was tired. Is mint an antidote? He asked if he has to be careful not to touch the cell salt before putting it on his tongue to dissolve. Well, it depends on what was on his hands. If he just gassed up the car, I suppose it could antidote it. Is mint an antidote? Mint can antidote. But if you're using it consistently over and over again, how much mint are you taking? Are you eating mint all day long so that you can't take the remedies? At some point, you're going to stop the mint and the remedies will act in spite of it. I just gave a bottle of Caliphos to an extended family member who is in medical school. I hope she gets some benefit from a stressed brain from studying and insomnia as well. You know what's really interesting? A lot of times these medicines are so subtle that people think, oh, well, the reason I'm doing better is because, the sun is shining. And I had a great weekend with my family at Thanksgiving. Or, I've been eating better. Then just take it away. Then don't use those medicines. Don't use those homeopathic medicines and see if it still acts. That's what I often tell people. If you're not sure, if you think it's because the sun is shining and that's the reason you're better and you're not giving credit to the homeopathic, let's take the homeopathic away. Why would we even keep it there? We don't want to overuse a homeopathic medicine. So let's stop. Let's cut the tie for now and just see if the sunshine helps. And if it does, then you don't need the homeopathic. But if you start going downhill again, you might want that homeopathic back again. And it could be any one of those. Just had a busy spell last week, which I never get, and the first thing I thought to take was bioplasma, which worked for me, says Shelley. Nice job. My daughter has thrown some of her cell salts out due to the expiration date. I would not. I have homeopathic medicines, my friends, from 1918. If you go back to my Monday Night Live last week, I showed them to you. They still work. Did you hear me? Not 2018, 1918, 120, 115 years ago, 110 years ago. Yes, I still have been able to use them. I don't, because they're my pride and joy now. Okay. Esther, Elizabeth says, Shelley, bioplasma was my first introduction to homeopathy. It worked beautifully for my chronic headaches, and I've never looked back since, discovering one beautiful remedy after another. You got it, Elizabeth. That's absolutely so. All right, my friends, I can't answer any more questions, even there's so many good ones. Love it. Listen, we could talk more about cell salts. Perhaps we'll do this again next week. Right now, we're going to go to my Mighty's And we're going to go ahead, and anyone who's in Joette's Mighty Members, if you don't know what to do and how to do that, go to Joette's Learning Center, scroll down, and jump right into learn how to join in Joette's Mighty Members. So hi, Mighties. Let's talk. Okay, here we go.